Fox News has now confirmed that Iraqi forces have driven Islamic State militants from the town of Baiji, which is home of the country's largest oil refinery. This is no doubt a big win for Iraq's military. Analysts say Iraqi forces could use Baiji as a base to attack militants in neighboring Tikrit. In other words, now that you have Baiji, you can go from there to try to get Tikrit back. Then there's that oil refinery. Analysts say it's a huge loss for the Islamic State. U.S. officials say the group rakes in about $1 million a day selling oil on the black market. They say that helped make ISIS the richest terror group on the planet. Now its leader, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, has reportedly ordered the group to start minting its own money. And of course, we have diagrams of what the money looks like. According to the Financial Times, this copper coin would be worth about 7 cents. The silver coin, well, they're going to have lots of different silver coins, and silver coins would range from 45 cents to $4.50 or thereabouts. And the highest value of any of these new ISIS coins, Islamic State coins, 21 grams of gold worth about $700. Meantime, the Daily Beast is reporting in a fascinating article today that U.S. officials are having a tough time tracking Baghdadi and his followers because now they've been using encryption on their online communication and using couriers to deliver messages. They're making it more difficult. Secretary Hagel said they would adapt, and they are. Christopher Hill is a former U.S. ambassador to Iraq and the author of Outpost, Life on the Front Lines of American Democracy. Well, this is disturbing a little bit. I mean, they're getting better at what they do.
Well, I think this happens in warfare. One side does something, the other side adjusts. But my sense is that we're making more moves than they can adjust to. And I wouldn't recommend keeping those coins as a store of future value.
Is the progress good? I mean, I know it's great that you get Baiji back, but there's a lot out there.
There is a lot out there. The progress, though, is good. It clearly has discouraged more recruits, especially as we've been able to hit them when they're in any kind of concentration. Things are improving. Of course, the big issue is what is going to happen back in Syria, because there's no political way forward there.
There's no political way forward, and if there's a military way forward, it's elusive, because I keep hearing about these moderate Syrian rebels, but I've never found anyone who's met one.
That's correct. I mean, you hear a lot about them, but to a great extent, they really don't exist. So the problem will be, can we train some Syrians who are going to be able to be the force on the ground against ISIS, and they're supposed to defeat al-Nusra, and, oh, by the way, defeat the Syrian government forces, and then what? I guess march in a victory parade into Damascus. So we're a long way from having any kind of strategy in Syria.
And as much as everyone is upset about Bashar al-Assad and the fact that he's killed hundreds of thousands of his own people, a power vacuum over there, history tells us, might be even worse.
You know, I'm of the view he ought to go, but I'm also of the view that we ought to identify what the political way forward is. And then when people see what the idea going forward, some kind of multi-parliamentary system, some kind of highly decentralized system, then you can talk about getting rid of Assad. I think we kind of did it backwards, and I think the consequence is with us now.
Ambassador Hill, is it worth American lives on the ground? And the reason I ask is, we're clearly in the middle of a sectarian struggle. This isn't a nationalistic struggle. It's Sunnis and Shia and Kurds in the north. And if you put boots on the ground, which we've done, whether they want to call it that or not, they're on the ground. If you do that, do you risk bigger troubles down the road?
I think you do. I mean, certainly I think it is worth American lives and treasure to deal with this issue of ISIS. I think it's a broader issue. But to put troops on the ground is to invite a whole new phase of, and this would involve Iraqis, all kinds of people not wanting to see U.S. troops on the ground. You know, everyone talks about President Obama's failure to put a residual force there. Don't forget that none of the main Iraqi groups, whether Sunni or Shia, were in favor of seeing more U.S. troops on the ground. So I think that a decision like that would really be fraught.
Nobody wanted them. No, and none of them want to fight. And building back up that Iraqi military, Ambassador Hill, thank you. Thank you very much. I mean, we built them for 10 years. We spent billions and billions and billions of dollars, trained them for 10 years, and they melted like butter. So train the next Iraqi military, how long is that going to take? 20, 30 years? It takes decades to build a military. Ask anybody in the military.